Alright, we are finally coming to the end of the Best of 2022 series. This is going to be the last general category before Best of Show. And for today, I'm going to talk about my favorite beat-em-ups of 2022. Beat-em-up genre is another one where a lot of its best hits come from the indie space, and I'm sure I probably missed quite a few that came out last year. So if you have your favorite beat-em-up of 2022, let me know in the comments down below. For honorable mentions, this year I'm giving it to Josh's Journey. I'm not saying naming your game after Josh will give it high scores, but I'm not saying that it will lead to massive success and praise. Josh's Journey is a game that's built on kind of the Castle Crashers formula of 4 players playing together to beat them up their way across the land. Where Castle Crashers had kind of like an ARPG style of getting new gear and spells, this one just gives us 4 unique characters, and each character has their own perk tree that can be unlocking new abilities, new moves, ultimates, and that kind of thing. And each character is unique in terms of what they bring to the table. If you're playing the single player, you can swap between them at any time. But of course, if it's a beat 'em up, this is a game that's meant to be played with 4 people. The aesthetic looks nice and kind of like an Adventure Time style aesthetic to it. And all in all, this was a pretty solid game. And it's one that hopefully when you get a few more Joshes on to do a Josh night of Josh-related games. But if you are looking for another beat 'em up to check out, and you have at least 3 friends wanting to come along for the ride, then be sure to check out Josh's Journey. Being named Josh is completely optional. For number 3 of the best beat-em-ups, I'm giving it to Young Souls. This is of the games mentioned on this list, probably the most technical or the most advanced in terms of beat-em-ups, combining the beat-em-up style with some very light ARPG and kind of character progression. You play as a pair of twins who discover that there is an underground invasion coming. And in order to save their adopted father, they are going to have to go deep, pick up lots of weapons, and punch, slash, and kick their way across. So this is a game that is definitely meant for 2 players. Each character, or your characters, can be equipped with a variety of weapons. They can specialize in certain builds because of it. And there is definitely a lot more going on here in terms of some of the advanced enemy patterns and the challenges that come with this game. It is on the harder side, especially with trying to manage your stamina and dodging. I like the idea of kind of an equipment-based beat-em-up, and I wish we see more of that kind of RPG element in the beat-em-up genre as a whole. The problem with Young Souls and what keeps it from getting higher is that it can get a little bit repetitive, and it is very much like the most basic of RPG progression. You just always want to be pushing for higher and more quality-based weapons, and then you can just kind of steamroll across a lot of the enemies. But some of the fights can be incredibly difficult if you didn't level up or have the right gear to go with it. And it does get a bit frustrating near the end if you're trying to play this game solo. But if you're looking for a little bit more advanced beat 'em up and you have a friend who wants to come along with it, then be sure to check out Young Souls. Speaking about bringing a friend along for the ride, for number 2, I'm going to be giving it to River City Girls 2. This is, of course, the sequel to the beat-em up PG, or beat-em up RPG, however you want to describe it, from Way Forward. With another really fantastic soundtrack that I enjoyed, this game doesn't quite exactly reinvent the wheel, but it further iterates on this design. Every character is now even more unique in terms of how they handle what moves they get. There are more characters, the world is bigger, a lot more things to do, and so on. This is one of those sequels that, again, if you didn't enjoy the first one, nothing they're going to do is kind of correct it for you. But if you enjoy the first River City Girls, and you like the RPG beat-em up style, this is definitely an easy must-play, especially if you have friends along for the ride, which I believe it has 4-player local, 2-player online. But again, when it comes to beat-em-ups, it's all about having a really great feel, and River City Girls 2 definitely matches that. And you can even get very fun trying to learn advanced combos and see just how much you can juggle enemies by yourself or with your friends. And I do hope that if they decide to do a third game or kind of another entry in the style, that we begin to see, I think, a little bit more evolution on the RPG side, as it does kind of feel like second banana to just running around, beating enemies up, and throwing bicycles at them. But still, a very solid beat-em-up, and one that comes with a whole lot of great tunes as well. So with that said, for number 1 of Best Beat 'em Up, by now you've probably have already figured out since it hasn't been mentioned yet, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. The game that is just TMNT nostalgia pumped directly into your pizza-loving veins. This is a game that from the very first trailer, we all knew that it was going to really pay homage to the style of Turtles in Time and the whole kind of turtle beat-em-up era of the late 80s into the 90s. And in that respect, Shredder's Revenge does not disappoint. Once again, very great soundtrack for a game, hitting all those nostalgic cues. The aesthetics, especially the pixel art, are some of the best we've seen. And the game certainly deserves credit and praise for not only having up to 6-player co-op, but 6-player cross-play co-op as well. Now, what does kind of hurt this game is I wish we are going to see more, I guess, complexity and depth out of the beat-em-up genre. Those of you who are new, again, my all-time favorite is still Fight and Rage. And while Shredder's Revenge doesn't have the same, I think, technical or combo mastery as River City Girls 2, it is just such a joy to play. It knows exactly what it is and knows what it wants to do, and it executes that almost flawlessly. The game has been updated with additional difficulty modifiers, and if there's any game that I think would signify to people that beat-em-ups are still a really great genre to work in, not of course going directly into like a hardcore action game, but just sticking in this realm, then Shredder's Revenge certainly highlights that. And between this and Streets of Rage 4, I hope we start seeing some more like banner franchises in the beat-em-up genre, and we need more of those arcade collections as well. But again, if you are a fan, especially if you are a fan of TMNT or just looking for a really solid beat-em-up for all your friends to enjoy, this is an easy recommendation. So with all that said, the nightmare is finally coming close to an end. For next week, I'm not even going to try and say that it's going to be coming tomorrow, will be the Best of Show special, where I'm sure we'll have some live bands, music, and all that as well to go along with it. But once again, let me know some of your favorite beat-em-ups down below. Do the liking, subscribing, and commenting. If you're interested in my books on design, be sure to check them out wherever books are being sold, and come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on Game Wisdom, where you examine the art and science of games.